The following video is available in audio-only format on the free Red Pill Philosophy smartphone app. If you were about to hit the gym or go for a walk or on your way to work, just pop in your headphones and take this video on the go with you. To download the free app, just click the link below.
And the pig is going absolutely crazy because the pig is not stupid. It could smell the blood. It could hear the squeals of other pigs, so it knew what was coming. The noob, trembling hand, wielding the blade uncertainly, holds up the knife, aims it, and lunges forward. Stab! The more experienced man says, "You missed! Do it again! You didn't hit his heart! Come on, kill it! Stab it! Stab it in the heart!" The noob man, shakily wielding the blade, goes in again for another stab. Stab! The pig is now bleeding profusely and squealing as the men desperately try to hold its legs together so it doesn't move. The noob missed his heart again. Now the pig is absolutely out of its fucking mind, squealing, desperately trying to get away, bleeding all over its chest. And they start stabbing again. And he stabs again. He ends up stabbing the pig about 15 to 20 times, all over its torso, before finally puncturing the heart, and the pig eases into a motionless slumber and finally bleeds out to death. Well, I guess now's as good a time as any to delve deep into the topic of veganism. Really question it, really put it under the microscope. Especially given that I only just recently intellectually molested Freelee the Banana Nazi. But before I went in deeply into scrutinizing the vegan ideology, the vegan movement, got my bike here, by the way. Wonderful bike. Motorbike Khan. Pretty good bike. 650. Solid. I wanted to tell you about one of my first experiences truly realizing the grueling depths of how savage life on Earth can be when it comes to animals and the suffering that animals go through. For every meat eater who associates manliness with having a big steak and says, "I gotta have my meat," for every meat eater who does that, I don't think that they want the animal to suffer. I've never heard a meat eater say, "Yeah, it's my right to eat meat, and you know what? You better make them suffer immensely in those factory farms and torture them good before you serve them to me." I've never heard a meat eater say that. So my first experience happened when I was about 10 years old, and it was about Christmas Eve, and here in Miami, in my Cuban upbringing, Hispanic Cuban upbringing, one of the main things that we do, a common tradition, every Christmas Eve is something called La Caja China. It involves eating a pig. You can go out to these black market type sellers who will sell you a freshly slaughtered pig. In fact, you even get to pick the pig while it's alive. Say, I like that one there. That one looks nice and chunky. You get to pick the pig, and they slaughter it right there before your eyes and hand you the pig. It didn't help. I was invited as a 10-year-old boy to go along with multiple relatives to meet up with these slaughter people and pick the pig. Well, it turns out that these people, their operation was run out somewhere in the middle of the woods. How's that for credibility, huh? So on a dark night, a few days before Christmas Eve, me and a few family members head out on a long drive. And we end up in the middle of the woods somewhere. We get out of the truck, we kind of walk for a few minutes through these wooded path areas. we turn the corner, and there's this dimly lit shed, dimly lit cabin off in the obscure twilight dimness. Again, I'm 10 years old. I have no idea what I'm getting into. All I thought, oh, we're going to go pick up the meat. We're going to go pick up the pig. The pig that I'd always eaten. The pig that I'd always eaten. Never thought twice about. Ate it. Enjoyed it. Well, I start to smell something. The slight smell in the air. Sort of a sweet and sickly scent emanating from this cabin. And then I hear a sound. And it's the sound of pigs squealing. So I go ahead and I walk in with my relatives. We're in this shed. We turn the corner around the back side of the shed, and there's like 15 or 20 other people waiting to get their pig. You know? And the sound of screaming and squealing pigs pierces my ears. And the smell of rotten flesh and blood intoxicates my nostrils. And if that wasn't bad enough, it gets much, much worse. And in the following 2 hours, my young 10-year-old mind witnessed an absolute horror show. Imagine the most violent slasher films brought to life before your eyes. Suddenly a pig is pulled out from this obscure cage area in the back where all the pigs are. A pig is pulled out, and I'm watching. And about 3 men are hauling this frantic pig out in front of where everybody's standing and watching. And I'm staring, and I'm like, oh my God, are they going to kill this pig right now in front of me? The pigs have been hearing other pigs being slaughtered alive now for hours, so the pigs knew what was coming. The pigs knew what awaited them. They knew that it was their turn to get killed, and this pig was slowly dragged out, hauled by like 3 or 4 men who had to hold it firmly by its legs, so it was being held upside down, and they were holding its feet together. And the pig is going absolutely crazy because the pig is not stupid. It could smell the blood. It could hear the squeals of other pigs, so it knew what was coming. A man pulls out a knife. A long, sharp, bloody knife is pulled out. And although this man looked like he had expertise, like he looked like the man who could painlessly kill it with a direct stab to the heart, he actually handed the blade to another man next to him. This man was much younger. And this man looked nervous. In fact, this man looked inexperienced. And so he holds the blade, hand trembling, while the other men hold the pig upside down by its legs. In a rugged Spanish tone, the more experienced man says something along the lines of, stab him right there in the heart. Just stab him right there in the heart and he'll die instantly. The noob, trembling hand, wielding the blade uncertainly, holds up the knife, aims it, and lunges forward. Stab! He pulls the knife out a second later, but something's wrong. The pig isn't dead. In fact, not only is the pig not dead, the pig is squealing in pain. And so the more experienced man says, "You missed! Do it again! You didn't hit his heart! Come on, kill it! Stab it! Stab it in the heart!" The noob man, shakily wielding the blade, goes in again for another stab. Stab! The pig is now bleeding profusely and squealing as the men desperately try to hold its legs together so it doesn't move. The noob missed his heart again. Now the pig is absolutely out of its fucking mind, squealing, desperately trying to get away, bleeding all over its chest. And they start stabbing again. And he stabs again. He ends up stabbing the pig about 15 to 20 times, all over its torso, before finally puncturing the heart, and the pig eases into a motionless slumber and finally bleeds out to death. All while I watch my 10-year-old mind in shock at what I just witnessed. The smell of blood, guts, sweaty pigs. They grab the pig, they plop it down into a table. Another man passes a knife all straight down its torso, all the way down to its rectum. Rips open the rib cage, and literally, with his hand, beginning up here at the torso, and then pushing down through the opening in the ribs he just created, pushes out all the fucking inner intestines off the edge of the table into a bucket. Literally just pushes intestines, lungs, heart, everything. Just pushes it out of the torso, and it lands into a bloody bucket on the floor. I'm nauseated at this point, as you could imagine. Well, eventually, when Nochebuena, that's the term for this Hispanic Christmas Eve celebration, finally rolls around, a few days later, I'm at the family gathering, and there's a beautiful pig laid out on the table, freshly cooked. And when I looked at the pig, I could not eat it. And that year, I didn't eat the pig. That year, I did not eat the pig. I'd eaten every year. I couldn't do it that year. And it seemed I couldn't do it because the fucking reality of what I was eating was right there in front of my face. I had to actually, when I saw that pig, in fact, when I smelled the smell of the pig, the cooked pig, the seasoned pig, I can still smell the sickly scent of death. The reality of the death of the animal was in the pig. But the only reason I could actually smell the death this time in the meat I was about to eat, which I never ended up eating that year, the reason I couldn't, or the reason that I could smell the death, is because I had just seen the death for once. It was so fresh in my memory, just a couple days old. And I think that's a fucking interesting thing, because for the average person who eats meat, when they eat meat, and again, I'm going to go deep and heavy into veganism now, and I'm actually going to be very critical of it. So if you're a meat eater out there, don't shit your pants. Keep listening. But this is nonetheless a personal story that happened to me, and it affected me, and I think it would affect most people.